Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 3 of the Demacia Cup 2019, fourth game of the quarterfinals. Rogue Warriors are going to head on to the blue side this time around. RNG on the red side. Apologies for the technical issues. Yeah, but somebody stepped on the line. Anyway, I'm still AC, still joined by Ibris, and straight into the champion select where a couple of things are a-changing.
Yep, a couple of champion changes with Lee Sin being banned out and whatnot, but also a couple of player changes for the side of Rogue Warriors. Thoroughly unimpressed with Holder and Haro in the previous games of this series. They brought in Crazy and Wei Yan to back up Ruby, Zuji, and Lei.
Apparently we're having some technical issues regarding our sound, so if our producer can get on it, that'd be great.
Rip.
Oh, please do. Oh god. So here we are. Rogue Warriors RNG. Mordekaiser's on the board, and he's been a mainstay in the LPL.
Yeah, Mordekaiser going to be one of those top tier weak side top laners, and the lock-in of that champion really going to telegraph that the Renekton is going mid. Again, we see the Quinn answering that, and actually I'm very intrigued as to see whether or not Crazy can pull this off, because Crazy, of course, was that substitute top laner over on SK Telecom T1 last year, who never really saw playtime, but always did have the benefit of scrimming versus Khan.
I just want to point out, we apologize for the audio issues, ladies and gentlemen. I know it sounds like we're being dank memers on hard base. It is very entertaining, and I hope you enjoy it. But yeah, Crazy. He's gonna be playing Quinn into Lang X's Mordekaiser. I'm trying to keep it as soft as I can, but it's really nothing I can do. Regardless, Karthus jungle. A scaling jungler versus RNG's hyper-aggressive Xiao Longbao.
Yeah, Xiao Longbao actually made a name for himself over on the Karthus in the LDL. He plays pretty much everything, to be fair. But Karthus, very much a scaling jungler that can also impact the early game with a bit of raw damage to really back up some of these early skirmishes. Quinn, of course, going to be the direct answer to the to the Renekton, but Pantheon into Mordekaiser could go either way, so I think they'd rather send the Quinn to deal with the Mord, and then have the Pantheon have a pretty okay time into Renekton. I'm also trying to be soft because, yeah.
You're
Mike.
soft to me.
Thank you. You're
Should we
fine.
like be quiet?
Please, fully charge Pantheon Q the microphone.
I'm just gonna go ahead and try to be quiet, just make sure that it's not the microphone. I don't know if it's gonna be a problem in the continuing of this broadcast. Sure. I turned on the volume, it was like it was like some damn memeing hard bass type shit. We're back online, hopefully with the audio issues fixed, ladies and gentlemen. As we head into game number 3 of RNG versus Rogue Warriors, this time around, Rogue Warriors are on the blue side with RNG on the red side. Match point for RNG.
Yeah, Rogue Warriors with their backs against the wall, really looking to pull something out of the bag here. They've got their substitute top laner, the real wildcard factor, plus Wei Yan in the jungle, who had played a game in group stages, but didn't look all too hot. Can this addition of the new 2 members of this team really make a difference? I'm not too keen as long. Xing may find himself in trouble.
Yep, he's absolutely in trouble. Flash is out, and Ruby flashes right after him. First blood's already down for Rogue Warriors, and this could be a solid indicative of things to come.
Hell yeah, the early game solo earliness popping off as early as 1 minute into game, and it looks like both of them really want to go mid against Renekton. Alright, now they're like, alright, we'll send the Pantheon top after he already makes his way to the lane. Kinda strange, but at the end of the day, what are you going to do about it? As the Mordekaiser, now with no flash, is a very juicy target for the Karthus follow-up to the Pantheon stun.
Absolutely. And this is the matchup that you originally wanted. You always wanted Quinn into the Renekton. So and it makes sense to throw Crazy again, or in this case, it makes sense to throw Crazy into the mid lane against Yahoo.
Oh,
But yeah, absolutely.
So cool. The Quinn waltzed out of the tri-bush before auto-attacking, so it wouldn't light up the bush with the attack, and reveal that Pantheon was just ready and waiting there.
Oh.
That was perfectly mechanically played, and Longxing fell for that bait like no other.
So that changed what in the soul lanes?
No, sorry. So the Pantheon was waiting in the bush, so the Quinn walked out of the bush before auto-attacking, so that the bush wouldn't light up and reveal that there was other rogue warriors in that bush.
Ah, okay, I see what you mean. Okay, that's fine. Still, Rogue Warriors are starting to open up a nice lead. XLB, however, he's got level 3. He's looking for the mid lane and goes crazy. He gets stunned by the cocoon, cleanse and flashes away, but they're following up to him. Everything is popped, but RNG bite back, and they equalize the scoreboard.
And that's one way to welcome the debut of the solo laner of Rogue Warriors here. Cleanse and the flash forced out, but you can't escape that deadly kill lane of the Elise Renekton. Pantheon with a good lead in the top side, now establishing that as Ruby just starts to style on Longxing here.
All right, so we're getting kills left and right and center. 3 minutes in, 1-1 on the board.
Ooh.
But one of these teams has to win this game. Who do you think is going to achieve said victory the fastest?
I think RNG having access towards this winning bot lane of Varus Leona, always having priority here, unlocking the map for some roams onto the Karthus early, really will pay dividends for them when it comes to transitioning towards the mid and late games. Longxing, on the other hand, we said he's playing weak side, literally left on the island just to suffer right now, as his life is really falling apart on the Mordekaiser.
Yeah, Wei Yan as well in the jungle. He's putting up a lot of pressure, following up to Ruby's invade, or not invades, but proxy farming there in the top lane. I would appreciate the Mr. Spectre man would swap out Crazy for Ruby, but hey, it's just a pet peeve of mine having the laners in order, but who cares at this point, right? Anyway, Xiaohu does have an assist over on Crazy's kill. Crazy himself, he's there. Hey, he heard me. Thank you. CS-wise, we do see Xiaohu once again on par against the Quinn.
This time around, going to be the opposite of the matchup, however, as you saw Ruby take the Renekton into the Quinn in game 1. I do wonder if Crazy can replicate Longxing's on that champion, and honestly, even if Longxing looks to be a mess right now, with the Mordekaiser being the recipient of the First Blood, plus the really unfortunate freeze and the fact that Karthus was playing towards topside, all of that really just spelling doom for this champion early, he still scales, he'll still be a threat come later on, and yeah, end of the day, we've seen Longxing overcome bigger hurdles than this.
Absolutely, but the biggest hurdle we have to look at right now is the fact that Wei Yan is a little bit ahead of XLB. Sure, XLB has a kill under his belt, but Wei Yan has double his jungle CS.
This Karthus really farming up a storm here. As Xiaohu, okay, I like this. This is what I do on Rumble whenever I'm playing, well, Mordekaiser really, or Quinn, if I'm not killing her, is that you decide you don't like a lane, you just decide to not lane against that champion. Every time you just push in, and you go for a roam. Push in, go for a roam. You saw him go bot to get some vision on the Karthus' jungle, and now you're seeing him rotate top to try and alleviate some of the pressure that Ruby is exerting. Unfortunately, Ruby's like, nah, I'm cool. I'll 1v2 if I have to. Just
that was actually a fairly good trade for Langax. We're starting to hit a point where he can out-sustain Ruby, and Ruby doesn't really deal enough damage to put him in jeopardy.
I would like to see Ruby start to roam around the map here. Langax has his flash available. Oh, mid lane.
XLB goes in, gets the cocoon off. There's a stun. There's a double stun. I think Crazy isn't long for this world, and now they're left with Wei Yan in their way, but they're not going to follow up to that because they recognize that Ruby's at level 6.
Speaking of level 6, this Karthus has rapidly approached that critical mass, has access to that Requiem, can really do a number in these skirmishes. But Kaisar Nautilus, whilst a very strong team fight lane, not really going to be looking to do a number on the Leona Varus. Plus, consider the the Pantheon Mordekaiser matchup wasn't really going to be too explosive since the lane kind of stabilized now. So the Karthus only really looking for actual skirmishes to pop that ult in.
Yeah, he's gonna be low-key just absent overall in the map. He's not gonna apply a lot of pressure. We've seen aggressive Karthuses, but they're so rare in these days, these upcoming
Pantheon?
days. We do see Pantheon coming in with a Grand Starfall. They find the pick on Xiaohu. He slices over the wall. He does not have the dice, however. Flash in from Lei, gets a dredge line. It's Ruby who secures the kill with a spear through the heart.
Yeah, decent way to snowball your top lane. Now, unfortunately, again, we're seeing Rogue Warriors commit a ton of resources to, well, this time it worked out, and they did pick up a kill, but when the Drake is already dead, they're the ones making the huge commitments to just pick up a single kill.
Now, we do see XLB waiting for the return of Rogue Warriors to the bot lane. RNG, they're freezing the wave as is, but main pops his E, and that's just going to be the wave pushed in against the Rogue Warriors. So they're going to take this time to go for a full reset. 2-2 on the board. No real lead manifesting for either sides, apart from the fact that RNG hold an Ocean Dragon to their name.
The massive jungle disparity right now goes a long way to helping the fact that Rogue Warriors' bot lane are currently getting styled on. The early game potency of Varus Leona, plus the fact Xiao Longbao has shown that he's just willing to cede top lane completely and play for this bottom half of the map as Ming. Now that he uses Moby Boots, immediately opting for one of his trademark crazy
Wait a
roams.
minute. Wait a minute, RNG brought the whole family to the top lane. Ruby senses there's a disturbance in the force. Lang X places a control ward which cuts away the vision from Ruby. RNG clear out the vision, but Rogue Warriors have no idea of the amount of people stacking on that top lane.
I'd say they have some idea, considering Ruby immediately backed the hell off, and you see everyone a little bit hesitant to kind of translate any sort of pressure across the map for Rogue Warriors, saying, look, we think they're 5-man in Herald, we don't have information there because they've cleaned out the vision, we're just going to shove up the lanes that we are guaranteed to face no competition in.
There is a massive wave crashing in the bot lane, and it will be wise for RNG to really respond to this. Ruby gets caught off. The Death Realm is activated. Lang X is stuck between rock and hard place. Ruby dealing a nice amount of damage. RNG are all waiting for Ruby to pop out of the Death Realm, and it's going to be XLB who picks up the kill. Ming is already on the hunt for the next pick on the board. Crazy cleanses out, but the Chains of Corruption just missed the back of Crazy.
I was so hyped for that follow-up kill onto Crazy there, but unfortunately, the chains, as you mentioned, did go wide. So RNG, whilst they find a single pick onto Ruby, it's enough in tandem with this Rift Herald to crack open this mid lane tier 1 and push their aggressive, offensive vision line.
Oh, in go the Grand Starfall. Pantheon hops in, tries to get the kill down on XLB, but the Requiem comes down! And it's Crazy who secures the kill. Dredge line into the back line. Langax has a huge shield on his back, but they're trying to fight back. They're trying to deal damage. RNG want this fight to go through, but Crazy picks up a double. Wei Yan's no cooldowns on the Lei waits. He's going to pump out damage after damage, and Betty bites the dust as well on a 3-for-0 in favor of Rogue Warriors.
Really beautiful answer coming through from Rogue Warriors there. We see them late to the party yet again, but this time around, it's not a dead neutral objective. It's a very salvageable fight, and the cherry on top of the cake there is that RNG did not crack open that mid lane tier 1. They were not able to choke out the vision of Rogue Warriors even more, and now the map firmly back in neutral territory rather than RNG's complete control.
And this is a complete reverse of what we've been seeing so far from RNG. They've been timing their fights and actually pacing their fights really, really well. But this fight, they decided to go all in on it. They fully committed to it. In previous iterations, we just seen RNG, as soon as a Rogue Warriors try to pull the trigger on them, they just back off.
This was a 4v5, by the way. Zhang Wuji was farming up a storm in the bottom lane and then eventually rotated. Rogue Warriors, when they can land their skills, when they have the Requiem available, can actually do a number on this RNG composition. No one screams mega tank besides Leona. No one screams that they're not going to get shredded by a Karthus. And that is just punishing the fact that Betty had no flash after missing those chains, punishing the fact that Xiaohu overcommit a bit, punishing the fact that RNG definitely overstayed there.
Also punishing the fact that Betty is going for the lethality virus as well, once again emphasizing the mispositioning from the AD carry of RNG there. But once again, they start rotating and they have the priority over the Infernal Dragon. XLB pulls it out and he's trying to execute it with the help of his team.
Xiaohu running interference, he's popped his Dominus, he's still pretty damn scary, and that's why you see Wei Yan being Karthus, his only real option is to flash into the pit, or walk into it, and with a Renekton and a Leona frontlining for this RNG lineup, the Karthus is never getting anywhere near that dragon.
Nope, and that's going to be the Cloud Soul, or the Cloud Map being spawned in the Summoner's Rift here. RNG are 2 dragons away from collecting that Cloud Soul. Rogue Warrior still no dragons on the board.
The irritating thing about Karthus is that even though he's a farm jungler and is just farming up Storm, reliably scaling, playing PvE, because of the way Requiem works, he can just pick up kills and assists, and it doesn't matter that the Elise had so much early game influence. Xiaolongbao sacrificed so much farm to get his lanes rolling early, but now we've hit like the early to mid game. The Karthus is on the board comparably and just has an extra 50 farm under his belt to boot.
But the thing is, did XLB make the right call, considering that, well, Elise wasn't going to scale?
Do something
exactly.
Early. Yeah.
But so we assume that is the right call, sacrificing the initial CS to just get the lanes rolling, right?
Yeah, I genuinely feel like that was just a good read from Rogue Warriors in draft.
So Rogue Warriors does secure the first split tower there on the bot lane. They open up the way towards the mid lane as well, where they're already inserting a lot of pressure. RNG having a hard time clearing out the waves without taking any damage, but they secure the tower with while just losing 2 plates. Crazy, however, he's still solo bot lane pushing in the tower, and there's nobody from RNG who can really respond to it, because look at the river. Wei Yan is there cutting the path for RNG.
I have been thoroughly impressed with Rogue Warriors' top side this game now compared to the previous iterations of the roster this series. Crazy kind of struggled early, but now he's found his footing and is definitely a threat in the side lane when it comes to playing this Quinn. And Wei Yan just reliably ramping up as a damage threat.
I was praising Rogue Warriors' macro, but did you see the gold plate, the plate gold collected by RNG? They had a lot of gold in their pockets.
That's partially due to the Rift Herald secure that snowballed into a couple of plates top, plus the fact we had that big mid lane skirmish that eventually led to Rogue Warriors wrangling their way back to this game. End of the day, though, the onus is on RNG to do something, because Lethality Virus gets outscaled, Renekton gets outscaled, Elise gets outscaled. Yes, Mordekaiser is like 1v9 machine later on, but he still is not quite as impressive as a Karthus and Kaisa duo threat.
Alright, so we've established that RNG put all their eggs in the early game basket. We're already 15 minutes in, so it's safe to assume that RNG have another 10 minutes of game time before everything starts snowballing in favor of Rogue Warriors. Is there a way that RNG can actually pick up the game in these 10 minutes?
I'd say continue to fish for aggressive picks with the Varus ultimate, with the Leona ultimate, with the Elise Cocoon. Any sort of CC would be a good one. Hopefully it comes before Ming gets chunked out, as we'd seen so many times this series so far, even in the dominant wins. This guy is such a phenomenal engaged support player, but he gets caught out warding so goddamn often.
Alright. 5 and 3 on the board. Xiaohu farming in the bot lane. RNG don't look like they want to start a fight against Rogue Warriors, but they still want to secure these major objectives. Second Herald on the board, started by XLB, 16 minutes in. It is going to be available upwards until the 20-minute-ish mark, and it might just secure enough gold for RNG from towers to keep them on a relevant pace in this game.
I'd say they're still fine to go even and take a couple of handshake trades early, but if you take too many of these against a Karthus comp, against a Kaisar comp, they're just going to ramp up towards that late game, and outscale you massively. And something I didn't touch on before is the fact that Mordekaiser, Renekton, they love to sit in side lanes, especially since Renekton is no longer that teamfight assassin with the removal of Spear of Shojin. Karthus Requiem makes every 1v1 into a 2v1 pretty much once he gets enough AP under his belt, not to mention the global Grand Starfall as well. So, yeah, really, really going to be an uphill struggle for RNG unless they find the Miracle Teamfight engages that Betty and Ming can facilitate with their teamfight defining ultimate.
Right, but they need the vision. They need a vision control around the river. We have the first Cloud Dragon spawning in the Rift, and it looks like Rogue Warriors want to start getting hands on these objectives. It's a Karthus, and there are 4 Cloud Dragons for Rogue Warriors to pick up on. It does not get better for Wei Yan.
Yeah, pretty much just, well, Lei is maybe not having the best time of his life, or maybe it was the best idea.
Charge was utilized, Lei
How is
is
he
low.
so tanky? That's gross, man.
He has Aftershock.
True.
Pretty much has Aftershock. RNG, they don't look for these fights. They try to disengage. They're looking for the cooldowns or Rogue Warriors before they can pull the fight in their own terms. They've lost a little bit of priority on the bottom half of the Summoner's Rift, but they're trying to regain it through the Herald in the mid lane.
Cracking open this mid lane tier 1 allows you to push your aggressive vision line around that Baron Pit, and the Drake will come back up, and that will mean that the chance for picks is so much wiser. You saw Wei Yan tempted to flash into the backline there. He could still go for it if Rogue Warriors want this fight.
Solid pushing from RNG in this mid lane gives them a bit of an edge over the rest of the jungle, but still, they don't have the tools to really pull a fight that deep into close quarters. Ming is still relatively squishy compared to Lei in this scenario. Crazy gets caught. Death Hand goes in. Crazy flashes up against the wall, but the Grand Starfall comes in. Look at the backline. You have Lang X already taken down lives. Rogue Warriors remain alive for the duration, but RNG are fighting back. In goes Yahoo! He interrupts the Requiem! The Crocodile is angry, secures the double, and looks for the triple, but Zhang Wuji is a little bit smarter than the rest of the squad, so he walks away from the fight. This is the miracle that RNG were looking for, and it's Xiao Hu who promoted it.
And that Requiem interrupt was so crucial. This Karthus is huge. Wei Yan could have turned the fight by himself. Betty fishing for... What? He flashed into the wall. Why would you do that? He flashed into the wall and into Xiao Hu.
I want to see the replay because I think we saw at least 3 flashes against the wall from Rogue Warriors.
Crazy! Is okay. He's fine.
He's fine.
It looked kind of spooky. Oh man, Rogue Warriors.
But
that fight could have been cool.
It could have been cool, but credit to Xiao Hu for being the clutch that actually allowed RNG to stay alive in this game. The interruption of the Requiem was super important. Like you said, it did not allow Wei Yan to dish out the damage that he should have dealt in that fight. It interrupted it, and it allowed RNG to go back into the fight, mainly because Lei had already popped his depth charge earlier in the fight.
So besides that, Karthus getting caught out, well, it's happening again. Okay, so besides the Karthus
interrupt... What?
Yeah, he tried for an invade and he got one shot by the Elise. Karthus insane at farming, but also insanely squishy, so if he gets caught, it kind of sucks.
Crazy.
Yeah, that sucks. You had no Nautilus available because of when he got caught mid lane. It was really, really disgusting because without the Nautilus engage, your engage is the fact that the Queen got caught out. And then, yeah, teleport into the backline, Karthus gets interrupted. Nothing can really come down from the side of Rogue Warriors to salvage that fight once the Renekton's in the backline.
Damn, but Xiao Hu is doing such a tremendous amount of work. He's got his team on his back. Look at the damage output from that last fight. Even though Wei Yan did not pull the Requiem, he was still the biggest damage dealer at 1900, almost 2000 damage last fight. Crazy. Now stuck in the death realm, Lang X is going to take him down one hammer at a time, secures the kill, but the Requiem is not enough to kill Lang X in return.
Incredibly close, however, but yeah, Lang X, the Conqueror stacked up, Rylai's Leandries, that core build on so many of these bulkier mages. A ton of stick potential on this Mordekaiser, and he runs down something as, you know, flighty as this Quinn, honestly. Like, how the hell do you chase down and lock down a Quinn as a melee champion? Okay, this is apparently how.
You use a death realm. That's
And a
how.
death grip.
And a death grip, of course.
Yep. I really hate this, because even if you dodge the Q and sidestep it, his AoE from the W is still tagging you in tandem with the passive. And then that just applies right as the Andrews. Your health is ticking down, your slow is being impacted on you. It's really, really difficult to get this champion off of you once he gets on top of you. And that's why being even tagged by that hook to begin with is a misplay from the side of Crazy.
I mean, he didn't have any vision over the wall, but I guess it's his own bad. RNG now are looking for the big Baron power play. 22 minutes in. We're starting to see Rogue Warriors slowly scale, but RNG put enough of a dent in Rogue Warriors' composition that they've slowed down their pace. Zhang Wuji is still kind of a threat. He's got the mana being fully stacked, but he does not have the Gwyn's Rage Blade up and running just yet. So the damage output is not at its maximum potential in the next fight.
Feels bad, man, for the Karthus when everyone but you has the Cloud Drake. But
Rogue Warriors secured a Cloud Dragon.
Yeah, I was pretty sure about that too. And then
Rogue Warriors secured the Cloud Dragon.
It just never appeared on the UI, by the way. This one that just appeared for RNG is the one that literally just died. So
yeah,
we just pretend that Cloud Dragon doesn't exist.
No, but Rogue Warriors do have a Cloud Dragon, so I'm going to ask our own production to fix that, since
I don't think you can do that. Is that beyond the realm of possibility?
Just get a logo and put it on the screen. Come on, it's not hard. Brand Starfall, however, Lang X might be in trouble as Wei Yan is coming in as well, steady, but he's going to walk away freely and scot-free from Ruby.
Not the most grandest of Starfalls, and a cool piece of itemization here is that we now see the locket coming through from Ming. This just goes a long way to nullifying a lot of this backline suicide, AoE everyone down effectiveness, almost as much as a Renekton stun to interrupt the Requiem.
It's true. Now Xiaolong Bao looking for the Baron Nashor. They know they saw Wei Yan in a bot lane, so they have some time to set up the wave, or set up the waves and the vision on the top half of the Summoner's Rift. The Baron Nashor is going to be an important game decider here on the third game. Will RNG get the clean sweep, or will Rogue Warriors start to devise the reverse sweep against RNG?
Something I want to touch on is that Rogue Warriors' Baron take is so much quicker than RNG's, because RNG, they don't even have a traditional AD carry. They have the lethality Varus rather than the on-hit. And as well as that, factor in the Karthus, DPS threat, Quinn, DPS threat, Kaisa, DPS threat. This Baron is paper to Rogue Warriors, but unfortunately, RNG never going to give them a chance to even move anywhere near that neutral objective.
RNG are clearing vision, but they kind of missed a ward, so they're not completely in the dark there, as Lang X continues to apply pressure in the bottom half of the map.
Credit to Long X, actually, because we had our doubts.
I had no doubts on the Mordekaiser.
And he's pretty damn good at the end of the day.
Well, that was a 2v1 turned into a 1v1 inside the Death Realm. Lang X seems fine. He's looking for the kill on Ruby, but the Death Realm times out. He's going for the double. Crazy might be in trouble, but Lang X is forced to back away as he waits for the cooldown. Slows down Crazy in the process. Lang X goes up while RNG are fighting around the Baron. They take down Wei Yan. Wei Yan is a smiter, and with the smiter down, RNG have a clear path towards the Baron Nashor.
Alright, that was pretty close actually from Long X there. He almost turns it around as you see Rogue Warriors make a convincing case for that Baron Nashor. RNG, we said their take of the Baron was going to be pretty slow. Unfortunately, couldn't convert the amount of pressure that Longxing was drawing on the Mordekaiser into much, really, but they forced out the Requiem. That's one hell of a cooldown, and if they make another Baron play in the next minute or two, that's going to be one very, very crucial tool for Rogue Warriors that won't be available.
Another wave crashing into the bot lane. RNG have a nice, solid lead to their name. As we take a look, is it a replay? It is a replay on the bottom left of the screen there.
Yeah, Wei Yan tries to scout vision with the Karthus wall and tries to get into the pit, but then just gets picked off by the Leona combo. really, there wasn't much chance that he was going to get anywhere near that. We said it about the Dragon fight as well. Besides your flash and maybe the occasional Lucky Blast Cone, you have no way of getting past the front line of the Renekton Varus Ultimate plus the Ming Leona.
Dude!
What?
Langek has a Gnash's Tooth! What?
Yeah, it's like the meta Mordekaiser build. Once he's on you, you are dead. 100%. Once he is on you, you are dead. You're getting right-clicked to death. The annoying thing is, Mordekaiser, when he was reworked, it was like, oh, you're not really dead unless he hits all of his abilities. With this build, he doesn't need to tag you with his abilities. His passive applies Rylai's and Leandri's, his auto attacks apply Nashal's Tooth, and every part of his kit applies death.
Well, yeah, and now it's Ruby who's going to take the brunt end of the Death Realm. In goes Langex. The shield is going to save Ruby for the time being. Xiaohu teleports in to deal with Wei Yan as he walks out of the Death Realm with a crown over his head. And Ruby in the gutter. RNG pull no punches here as they take down the mid tower and progress towards the tier 2 in the bot lane.
This is a really good rotation, pretty much just facilitated by the insane amount of pressure being pumped out of Longxing on this Mordekaiser. A second Cloud Drake's soul actually gonna be claimed by RNG here if this kill does indeed go through. And with the rest of Rogue Warriors scattered, it looks like it indeed will.
Well, in the meantime, you had Crazy in the top lane trying to take the tier 2 tower, but he was just on full zoom, not a care in the world for his team as they were being demolished by the onslaught of Royal Never Give Up. Baron is now on the table. RNG have the map set up in their favor to secure this last major objective of the game.
You know how sick this Cloud Drake Soul is for RNG? Just for the Leona alone, you now have the Solar Flare into her speeding up to reliably land that Zenith Blade Q combo. Like, you can start the Leona combo from 2 screens away now, and then just engage. Find someone, kill that person, and they're basically... The fight is won off of one good Leona ult now from this point onwards, just because Ming can snowball that so reliably into the rest of this Leona CC.
Rogue Warriors have one cloud for themselves as well. Chains of Corruption go down. Lay's caught in the front line. He finds Xiaohu with a dredge line, but I don't think that's a target that he wanted to go for. He's forced a flashback, but look at Lang gets in the back line, shreds through Zhang Wuji's health bar as a 2-for-0 falls in favor of RNG. Wei Yang is still alive. He can still attempt the miracle steal at the Baron Asher, but RNG are already all over the objective.
Wei Yang gets 2 hit by this Varus, by the way, so maybe would be a little bit ambitious from this jungler of Rogue Warriors. As said, RNG rotate towards this Baron Nashor, and who the hell cares if their take is a little slower compared to their opponents when there's no one to contest it.
Absolutely. I mean, Rogue Warriors are doing what they can. They've taken down the tier 2 tower in the bot lane, courtesy of Ruby. They're really close to shred through the top lane tower as well as they set up the wave for the top lane and the mid lane. Now, it is time for the RNG power play that could potentially close out the game. They're only 4K ahead, but it's 4K that can dictate the difference between RNG and Rogue Warriors right now.
And this is the Leona ult from 2 screens away. The speed up from the Cloud Drake gonna help augment her getting into position to follow up with more CC. And the sheer amount of pressure being pumped out of RNG from a single pick right now, pretty much unparalleled. Yes, Cloud Drake isn't the game ender that, say, Ocean or Infernal are, especially on this patch, but end of the day, RNG pretty much set up for victory from this stage onward, and with a Baron in pocket, it means the Elder Dragon gonna be that next point of contention, unless RNG snowball their lead here and now.
Now Betty setting up the wave in the mid lane. RNG on a 1-3-1 push here with Ming circling around the jungle side of Rogue Warriors' map as they're struggling to find their footing in this game right now. 15-7 on the board. 4 dragons in favor of RNG. A teleport coming in. Xiaohu pops his dominance, but immediately Rogue Warriors disengage at the sight of Langex in the bot lane.
Langex running interference, drawing so much attention to himself, and Rogue Warriors are scattered. They're thinking, what can we do here? Lei, you need to fish for a Nautilus ultimate. We need to find some sort other pick here, get Karthus to use his flash for the first time in what feels like 20 minutes, get him into the backline, but they want to wait for the Karthus to at least tick over to level 16. That's going to be a tall order, however, as RNG giving no time to breathe to this Rogue Warriors composition.
Well, Crazy's trying to find a pick on XLB, but he's having none of that. He repels into the Blast Cone, joining up with his team on a 5-man death squad in the bot lane as they siege the bot lane tower. Crazy in the side lane can't find the opening to get into the back of the fight as Ruby gets locked in by the solar flare, but he dodges the death grip from Mordekaiser. And now in comes a Requiem, a lot of shields in the backline, courtesy of Ming and his Luck of the Iron Solari, as RNG start to steamroll over Rogue Warriors. Take two in a whim. 1-for-1, Ming for Ruby, and Wei Yan also perishes in the onslaught of RNG, who are closing in on Rogue Warriors' door. Knock, knock, go RNG, as they crack open the inhibitor and lead the minion wave into the Nexus Towers.
And with the Cloud Drakes, the Dominus, the Solar Flare, both of these are on like 40-second cooldowns, and that is gonna be the game off of one hell of a team fight from RNG.
Crazy still dealing damage, but Betty is still very, very healthy. There's still the Death Realm locking in Crazy, but instead of trying to finish the game, RNG are playing with their food. They want the clean sweep, and they got it. RNG 3-0 Rogue Warriors into the semi.
Not the kind of commanding early game we've come to expect from Zhao Long, Bao, and the gang, but they came back. Yes, the first 10 minutes looked like a Rogue Warriors favored game. This Karthus came online and never really let go of the game. But once that mid-game rolled around, it felt like something turned on inside of RNG, and they find pick after pick after pick, and they find the cleanest 3-0, the cleanest game, the cleanest series of the entire quarterfinals of the Demacia Cup against Rogue Warriors.
Absolutely, and RNG re-established themselves as one of the dominant teams in the Chinese region. Let's see if that progresses over to semis, because Rogue Warriors, we talked about it, they were the favorites in their groups. RNG looked lost, but you have to think about, was RNG in an unfavorable group, or were they just playing the mental game?
Yeah, well, strength of schedule certainly gonna be a factor here, but you also have to consider not only were RNG in a difficult group, but Rogue Warriors had the benefit of the doubt in theirs, and coming out of first seed was certainly an accomplishment still, but at the end of the day, Rogue Warriors. It looked good at some times. There was a lot of promise, especially with Wei Yan and Crazy coming in. Like, I think this was Crazy's first game period underneath the Rogue Warriors banner. Wei Yan played one game in groups. It went okay, but yeah. Still, Ruby's the real deal, at least. Just Lei looked a little bit suspect with his engages, as it were.
Well, I mean, you can't really pin it on Lei. The biggest turning point for Rogue, as we can take a look at the gold graph, Rogue Warriors actually looked solid at the entrance of the mid game.
Yeah,
upwards until the 20-minute mark, they were leading the charge. They were actually putting RNG into a corner. And if we look at RNG's composition, they weren't meant to scale past the 25-30-minute mark. But somehow, thanks to Xiao Hu and one good team fight that interrupted the Requiem, turned the whole game on its head.
Yeah, and at that 17-minute mark where you saw that gold lead kind of start to taper out, the Karthus was 3 levels up relative to the Elise. It looked like a guaranteed win until Zhao Hu found his flank with the TP, found his way into the backline, and just completely ruined everything for Rogue Warriors from there on out. And, well, then you hit the point of the game where Mordekaiser really starts to become an issue to deal with, and Longxing, he's been the player of the series for RNG this time around. After a shockingly bad group stage, a shockingly bad world championship, the guy actually showed up.
And the one player that you expect would be able to deal with Mordekaiser, Zhang Wuji, with his on-hit build, shredding through health bars, he wasn't even close to getting... Actually, was there even a Zhang Wuji on that game? Because he was really, really erased.
Yeah, in that one fight that Rogue Warriors really turned the game on its head with to get their early game lead going, Zhang Wuji wasn't there. And it felt like that was the story of this game. farm up, clean up, do whatever you want, Zhang, but you're not dishing out the DPS
You
when
know
we
what? I'll
need
double
to.
down. It felt like it was the story of the whole series. We saw in the Vayne game, Zhang Wuji was 5-1, and he was nowhere to be found as a carry threat.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. But part of that is because everyone on RNG is goddamn scary to face down, especially a Leona such as Ming, who we've seen time and time again, complete zero regard for his own life. He's like, let me get in the back lane, you're dead.
Hold
or I'm
my
dead,
beer,
or both
said
dead.
Leona.
Yeah.
But that being said, however, that wraps up the series between RNG and Rogue Warriors, and there's nothing left to do but to toss it over to the analyst desk to break down how RNG took it home so convincingly without dropping a single game. So please, TJ, take it over.
Welcome back to the Cyber Desk. My name's still TJ, joined by Doctor and Saga. It has been a great weekend of quarterfinals. Here are their unofficial coverage of the Demacia Cup. Thank you so much for bearing with us through tech issues, especially at the start of that game. We wanted to break down that game, and you gotta start in the mid lane, because Crazy's Quinn was a big part of that game, and not always in the best ways, Saga.
Yeah, start to finish, the Quinn was... It wasn't a game 2 Quinn, right? They picked it as this. It was the same idea. They swapped it as the towards the mid lane as the counter pick to Renekton, who they would have expected in the top lane, but they picked it, you know, a relatively flexible mid lane, top lane swap as well with the Pantheon. So they just sent it to the mid. But from the way that it played out in the laning phase, it's just like Xiaolong Bao just camped it, and he was down 0-2 with it about 6 minutes into the game, and it was just no way near the same level of threat and holding the Renekton back as it had been for RNG in game number 2.
Yeah, it was a big improvement. And RNG did get a ton of objective control throughout that game, which is very similar to previous matches. And Doctor, you were pointing out that it felt almost like a conscious decision by Rogue Warriors to back away from that objective control.
Yeah, so they swapped in, brought in the new jungler Weiyan, who's picked up the Karthus, obviously someone who's a bit more focused on the farming aspect, so yeah, you can go ahead and give up those dragons. But to me, that didn't make too much sense, because we saw early in the series they weren't prioritizing Drakes either, and we saw how that worked. They lost those games as well. And ordinarily, when you sub out your jungler, that causes a huge change in playstyle across the team. We saw it yesterday really well. With EDG versus WE. The second EDG swapped in JJ, suddenly everything changed. They completely changed the way they were playing the game, all around that jungle pick. And that didn't happen in this game. And we just saw the same problems plaguing the team.
But for a moment, it almost looked like it was working, because you got that power spike out of the jungle at around the 10-minute mark. Then we had this 11-minute Rogue Warrior fight, Saga, where they just dominated in the mid lane. I was on board for like a hot second.
Yeah, so that was like what we said. With Wei Yan coming in, he was much more focused on his individual carry status in the team, rather than being that objective macro focus from what we've seen from Harrow throughout the series. So as soon as he got that Runic Echoes, as soon as that jungle item was online, they just went for a fight in mid lane, and they actually came out ahead, and it started to look as though maybe a more sort of carry-oriented style focus from the Karthus might be what they actually needed to start taking the advantages back from what they'd already lost a little bit with Crazy being camped in the mid lane by Xiaolong Bao and falling a little bit behind the Renekton. They actually did manage to turn it around, pick up some kills, and start getting the ball rolling for themselves in the mid stage of the game, just off the back of that one-team fight.
But then, Doctor, just to bring you back to dunk on Crazy one more time, just as Rogue Warriors seemed to have it figured out, the Crazy man took a crazy engage just inside this little choke point off the mid lane in the jungle. Yeah.
So Weiyan got a lot of money from clearing out his jungle, winning that team fight, getting some kills, you know, and to do a bit of role play here. Crazy got a lot of money by sitting there, playing away, and oh, the money's in the account? Okay,
dear.
Run into 5 people, pop the stopwatch, flash into a wall, and we'll call it a day, you know? Yeah, from there on out, it'll just go so downhill.
Was that WeChat or Alipay that he got on his phone?
Might be both. If
Yeah,
you
probably
Bite of a
both.
knife.
from
So it was.
I mean, to
was
make it
that
that
bad.
blatant, it must have been a lot of money. Could have been coming from multiple sources. I don't know.
Zoomed straight into an Elise cocoon and just got demolished. And
He
even
just
when
Naruto ran.
even
To be
when
clear,
Wei
though,
Yan tried to
To
turn
be
it
clear,
around,
though, because I don't want to
Shaka
dunk
cancels
too
it.
hard on Crazy, because, like, obviously that wasn't the best play, but mistakes happen, and more than Crazy making a terrible engage happened during that fight, there was also that backline to shut down the Karthus ult that I still think would have turned that fight.
Yeah, it was a big stun from the Renekton.
So there was a lot that went right for RNG in that team fight. And then we just had Lang X show up as we went further into the late game, and it felt like that 118-minute fight where RNG were able to kind of control the game for a moment was long enough for Lang X to come online. And then we got my favorite thing in League of Legends right now, that late game Mordekaiser saga. It is terrifying.
Yeah, it's like we said it a little bit in the pregame before we actually started the stream. Was like, Rogue Warriors doesn't seem to put too much emphasis on Renekton, too much priority on it. And now they've picked it up for game number 3, but RNG answers with the Mordekaiser, and this is exactly what Rogue Warriors have been picking throughout the group phases, is the Mordekaiser, and they showed exactly why, because it was dumpstering kids. Just going in the bottom lane, 1v2, knocking the GA off Crazy, did eventually go down in that trade, but he managed to pick up so much in trade for it, getting the 1 kill, buying so much space for his team around the Baron with 2 people having to come and answer. The Mordekaiser just so oppressive if you don't have the tools to deal with it, and the tools, like we said before, Zhang Wuji was shredding through some health bars, but he just wasn't there.
There were no tools that could take on Lang X, and overall, RNG looked dominant the first 3-0 of the weekend. If we can, Piff, let's take a brief look at the bracket, because, oh my god, he was ahead of me there, producer Piff. Because, of course, our quarterfinals are over, but our semifinals are next weekend. That's the 28th, sorry, tomorrow. That's the 28th. We'll start with VG Gaming taking on EDG, and we'll have JD Gaming playing Royal Never Give Up. You won't want to miss them. And then, of course, we got the finals on the 29th, all broadcast right here, twitch.tv/Opalcasts, and that is once again tomorrow, not next weekend. I apologize. It's been a long day for me. That's why such mistakes are happening. My name's been TJ. You can find me online at esportstj. I've been joined for the second half of this desk by both Doctor and Saga, whose Twitter handles are right below their beautiful heads. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with us in Twitch chat. We've had a great time, and we hope you have as well. We will see you tomorrow. Until then, have a great night.